Okay, let's start for the second session. This, as I said, we have already finished related to motherboard. And in this motherboard, once you understand the motherboard, you have seen the sockets for RAM. So what exactly RAM? All of you know that is a random access memory. But what is the importance of random access memory in a computer? So can you run a computer without RAM? I will say no. Because RAM is a very fast memory, and if you wanted to run any application or that application has to be moved into a memory, and then CPU can process it. So obviously if you wish to run a more number of applications, the demand is that you must have a larger and larger RAM. So we'll today we'll see what is exactly RAM, what are the different types of memories, then wonder what are the categories of RAM, how this RAM has been evolved. That means what are the various versions of the RAM, then practically how to identify a RAM, then what are the features of those particular RAMs, then what precautions you should take while handling the RAM. At the same time, what are the different myths or what are the some what is generally said about the RAMs, and then certain tips or guidelines that how we select the RAM. So these are the topics that I'm going to cover today. Somewhat I'll go fast because most there are 25 slides and we'll try to finish these 25 slides within 45 minutes. So very first, as I say, uh, memory primarily of three types. One, cache memory, primary memory, or we also call this as a main memory. Then secondary memory. Once you say cache memory will take another lecture on cache memory. And then because this is the fastest memory on a computer, which resides either on microprocessor or it is in between RAM and microprocessor based on the requirements. Then primary memory, which we are going to deal with today. And when we talk about secondary memory, so it is all related to magnetic storage. Mostly we say floppy disk or a hard disk or maybe your optical disk or a Blu-ray disk or even tapes and drives and all this. See, this all comes under a secondary memory, which you already know. Then we talk about the characteristics of main memory. Here, these are all semiconductor memories. We normally call it is a main memory. As you all aware, this is a volatile memory. That means if a power is lost, then immediately content from this memory is lost. It is also the working memory because everything works of any application actually works on works in this area, or hence it is called as a working memory. Obviously, it is faster than a secondary memories, and then computer cannot run without a primary memory. So this is so once you must understand that what is the role of a RAM in a computer. Then if you see what are the types of memories, then here if you see static RAM, here first there are two types of RAM as such. One is static RAM, another is called as a dynamic RAM. Static RAMs are very fast. In fact, it takes some more space. It is made up from a transistors, normally say flip-flops, because as you are aware, memory you need to store only zeros and ones. On the contrary, if you talk about the DRAM, that is a dynamic RAM, these are the normally made of transistors and capacitors. It requires a small area compared with your SRAM. And this is mostly we use CMOS for fabrication of these memories. SRAMs are very costly. That is why, as I said, SRAMs are normally used as a cache memory. Then most of the work or most of the memory that is in a computer is a DRAM. Then when we talk about the yes, there are two types of memory again. SRAM can be a synchronous SRAM or it can be a asynchronous SRAM. That means whenever you say this, SRAM stands for static RAM. Whenever you say static RAM, I mean the data once stored into it, it will remain as it is. Or this is a synchronous SRAM. Okay. As I said, this is a static RAM, so obviously this is a very fast. One other important point about synchronous RAM. Why is the synchronous word used? Because This RAM actually in synchronous with the clock speed. That means whatever be the CPU clock speed, the same speed is that of a RAM. That means RAM speed and clock speeds are the same. That is why it is called as a synchronous RAM. Obviously, because of this you can validate the clock signals, and this will enable the cache to run in a steps with CPU. As I said, synchronous SRAM is normally used in a cache. When you talk about the asynchronous SRAM, this is not synchronous with the clock, so obviously it works slower than your RAM. Then when we talk about the dynamic RAM is the most commonly used the computers. All dynamic RAM chips actually holds a 1 bit of information. As I said, the parts is transistors and capacitors. These are extremely small transistors and capacitors and millions of bits it can hold. Static RAM is very fast and expensive, as against to that dynamic RAM is less expensive and relatively slower. Advantage is that it has got a high density, that is more number of transistor capacitors can be packed over that particular volume or the area, and it needs refreshing after a specific interval. This is the limitations of this. So this refreshing circuitry is required for dynamic RAM. Let's see now what are the different packages that are available for the RAM. Now, if you say very old RAM, in fact, when PC is developed somewhere in 90 up to 1995, this is one motherboard, and if you will see that there is a banks of RAM chips. Whatever the RAM development there, at that time RAM was available in dual inline package. As the name suggests, you are using these particular chips in a laboratory. So there will be legs will be there on each side. You just have to put that particular RAM into what I have shown the socket, and then all these are permanently mounted. So these are removable, but sockets are permanently mounted on the motherboard. So that is why earlier motherboard of a very big size, because that was taking a very large size. And if you see that RAM, this is almost 640 kilobytes. That was a conventional memory, and that was a minimum memory that is required for computer to run or computer to load operating system. Now this is, I will say, outdated. Then another part of the RAM is, now this is somewhere in 1990, around 1999. This particular memory was developed, that is called as a RIM memory, Rambus Inline Memory Module, and this is used in video adapters as well as motherboards. Now these are the some sockets that I have shown. This is 184 pin or it is 232 pins. But with the development in the, it was in competition with what we call as a SIM memory, which will come in the next slide. But now this is also became outdated as the SIM and DIM has become very popular, and also the speed of this is very fast. So again, this is somewhere, this is also nowadays not being used, this particular RIM. Then now see today's memories. These are of basically two types, SIMs and DIMs. Whenever you say SIM, that is single in memory module technology. That means you will find this is normally used as a 32 bits. Hope everybody know what is a computer. Normally up to say 386 machine. Before 486 machine, almost or a Pentium machine, almost all the machines were of 32 bits. Now later on after Pentium, all the computers are almost of a 64-bit machine. That means what is the addressing capacity, or at one instant how many bits can be handled by your bus? That is called as a number. As you have studied microcontrollers, so you are aware what is 32 bits and what is 64 bits. This is as far as hardware is concerned. Similarly, if you say the operating system, earlier operating systems are 32-bit operating system. Now, if you are using a 64-bit microprocessor, then all the operating systems are 64-bit operating systems. So accordingly, this SIM was how to identify this particular SIM. So you'll find that this, I'll just go in the next slide. So when you say DIM, it is a 64 bits, and either it is extended data output or it can be synchronous. SRAM. So let's see what is exactly SIM is. If you see this particular SIM is available in 30 pins to 72 pin configuration. When I say pin, you can see at the bottom, there is a golden, you find golden strips are there at the bottom, which are actually inserted into the slots. So whatever these pins, it can be 30 pins or it can be 72 pins. And if you see why it is called a single in memory module, because these golden plates are only on one side. At the same time, these chips will also find on one side, other side of this chip will be empty. That means there will not be anything on other side, even that pins will not be there on other side. That is why it is called as a single inline memory module. Okay, now here once we say about what is DIMM memory. So in DIMM memory, here number of pins are increased. These number of pins also are on now both the sides, front side as well as on a back side. Hence that is called as a dual in memory module. If you see the right side picture, then in that case you will find this number of strips are about 84 on front side. Similarly, there are 84 pins on a back side. When you vertically insert this RAM into a RAM slots, at that time you will find this there will be 184 pins or a data or a tracks going from your that particular memory slots. This 186 pin configuration was normally used in Pentium, Pentium Pro, Pentium 2, Pentium 3 motherboards. Later on, we'll discuss about the compatibility of motherboard. This RAM was popular in uh, Pentium or Pentium computers. So here another important point, that is voltage required for this chip is about 3.3 volts. So this is all about. Now I hope you understand what is the difference between SIM and DIMM. SIM is this pins at the bottom are only on one side, but for DIMM these are on both the sides. On DIMM, chips can be on both the sides or chips can be only on one side, but track can be on both the sides on a DIMM. That is depends upon a type of memory, capacity of a memory, or maybe manufacturers of a memory. Then if you see the DDR memory backgrounds, now here, now once you say this DIMM memory module, now after this DIMM memory module, which is now here speed was very restricted, speed was not going above the, say I will say 100 megahertz or something like this. So what the speed of this is restricted to 800 megahertz. That means maximum data that can be transferred between CPU and RAM, it was only 800 megabits per second. And for today's application, this is normally a small. This is also one of the specification, that is what is FSB, that is front side bus, that is normally called, and this is the fastest fastest data transfer between CPU and RAM. That is the specification of any motherboard. One may say what is the FSB of the motherboard. That means that is the fastest data transfer that can be done between RAM and CPU. So here this is a limitation up to if you have a DIMM memory, it cannot so if you have earlier like 168 pin, it cannot go beyond 800 megahertz. Then their technology was, as I said, RIM then came into market, but later on there was a technology advanced in design of memory, and then more popular memory came, that which memory we are using nowadays. This is called as a DDR memory. DDR stands for double data rate. This the Okay, as the data now, what is the advantage of this memory is that whenever the data is transferred, you know that data is transferred based on your clock pulse. For every one clock pulse, if one bit is transmitted, then we can, that is earlier non-DDR memory we are using only one clock pulse for transmitting one bit data. Now what DDR is using? DDR using both rising as well as falling edge. On each falling and rising edge, the data bits are transferred. That is why obviously the rate of transmission double. Hence the name is given as double data rate. DDR has got certain limitation. It can't keep with this non. Earlier we said some dynamic RAM. Those are having certain limitation, but because it cannot keep track or it cannot meet the requirement of modern processors. So DDR is basically it's an interface technology. It is inside similar for, if you see all the DDR product, if you see at across these DDR products, these are almost same, but we'll see how their day speeds are being increased. DDR memory modules have 64-bit interface. So if any DDR you take, so obviously you can fit DDR only on a motherboard if has a slot on this. And if your CPU is 32-bit, then you cannot, obviously you cannot use a DDR memory, because DDR is basically a 64-bit data bus. Hence, it obviously it has a faster speed. Then coming to, let's talk about what is this DDR RAM. That is double data RAM. It can be, it is 184 pin configuration, as we said. It is normally used in a high-end servers or even a good at that time. Somewhere this DDR came into existence about 2000 2001. And at that time, whatever be the motherboard's design or a processor existing, those were used this particular DDR ROM. As I said, transfer data on rising and falling edge of the clock cycle. Hence, transfer rate is double without increasing the clock signal. That means if your clock signal is 100 megahertz, still your data now if you talk about the DRAM and DDR RAM, and if your clock frequency is same 100 megahertz, how it gets doubled? Now earlier it was operating at 800 Mbps, because 100 multiplied by, so if you see this, if you have got this particular, why I say 800 megahertz, because 100 multiplied by 8, that is nothing but what you say, this is the 800 megabits. But now if you talk about DDR goes up to 1600 Mbps, because clock rate is there. And here see, even if you talk about the 32, in short, if I wanted to say how your megabits or speed of a memory is calculated, speed of memory depends on two things. One is your bus width, another is your clock speed. Now for this example, if I said clock speed is 100 megahertz, and if you have a bus width of 64 bits, then your data transfer will be 100 into 64. What will be that? Okay, but now, but if you have this, but that will come 100 into 64, so that will give you something like an what 6400. So here, uh, that is nothing but what we can say, the speed. Now in case of DDR, this factor is multiplied by 2. How this 600 Mbps is coming, that is shown in the bracket. 100 is clock speed, 2 is because we are transferring the bit on positive as well as rising as well as falling edge. And into 64 is the number of, is the bus width, the number of bits that is transmitted in one clock pulse. So when I say 64 bits, I mean if I give one clock pulse, then from these 64 lines or bus, there will be 64 bits can be transmitted from one point to the another point. It has, as I said, it has 184 pins and one notch, which is exactly at the center. It almost operates at 2.5 volts and available in into 4 into 8 into 16 DDR chips. That means what? There can be a more number of chips can be fitted on your same RAM. So here, if you see this particular example, on this particular, this is a 1 GB DDR RAM working on 400 megahertz clock, this particular RAM chip. But this RAM chip has got into 4 means there are 4 chips on this particular RAM. If you say into 8, that means there are 8 chips on RAM. And if you set into 16, there are 16 chips. Now as above, you can see from front side there are 8 chips. On back side also there will be another 8 chips. So this is the example of into 16 DDR chip. So this is all about DDR, what is we call as a double data rate RAM. Now, even this particular speed found to be small because DDR was available from 200 megahertz to 400 megahertz. If you see the RAM frequency of DDR, this is normally 200, 266 megahertz, then 333 megahertz, and 400 megahertz. These are the upper limit for DDR. But if you talk about DDR2, now DDR2 here clock speed is increased by making half the earlier. If a clock, what is the duration of the clock was, it is made half. As you know, if a duration of the clock is made half, obviously the frequency will be doubled, and that is why this particular memory was developed somewhere in again after 3-4, it's about 2004 2005. So that at that time this DDR2 came into the market, and it has almost have a double speed as that of DDR RAM or DDR1. Normally we never say DDR1, we always say DDR. But when you talk about DDR2, this is different than your DDR RAM. It is, and this is possible because of two reasons: improved bus signaling, and at the same time operating your clock at the half of the duration. That means increasing the clock frequency. Then it is also doing the data transfer just similar like your DDR1, rising as well as falling edge. This bus is clocked twice for the rate of DDR. म्हणजे थोडक्यात त्याचा जो ड्युरेशन आहे तो अर्धा केला तर दोनदा क्लॉक प्लस येणारच आहे तुमचा. आणि त्याचं व्होल्टेज 2.5 वरून आता हे 1.8 व्होल्ट वरती आलेलं आहे. म्हणजे ऑपरेटिंग व्होल्टेज इज ऑल्सो डिक्रीज्ड. Now what is more important you have to remember is that whether you have DDR1, DDR2, DDR3 or DDR4, all the RAMs are having different specifications. They are not compatible with each other. At the same time, if you have a motherboard for DDR2, you can fit only DDR2 RAM. If you have a motherboard for DDR3, you can fit only DDR3, because the notches which you see, the position of the notch at the just in between, what we say in the golden strips ला जे खाली आहेत, ज्या गोल्डन पिन्स आहेत त्याच्यामध्ये एक छोटीशी एक नॉच आहे बघा, आणि ती नॉचची पोझिशन ही जर मागची जर बघितली आपण की ही जी मागची DDR3 जी होती, DDR1 ची नॉच बघितली ती कुठं आहे, अगदी सेंटरला आहे. हिची बघितली तर साईडला आहे. जशा नॉच असेल त्याप्रमाणे तुमचे स्लॉट्स असतील, आणि वरून जेव्हा तुम्ही इन्सर्ट कराल तेव्हा इन्सर्ट जर प्रॉपर झालं त्या नॉच मध्ये जर गेली तरच ती तिथे बसेल, अन्यथा तुम्ही किती वरून प्रेस केलं तर यू कॅन डॅमेज युअर, बट इट विल नॉट गो इनसाइड दिस. सो दिस नॉच डिसाइड्स द, ह्या नॉचच्या पोझिशन जे आहेत त्याच्यावरून तुम्ही DDR1 आहे की DDR2 आहे हे पण आयडेंटिफाय करू शकता, किंवा त्याच्यावरती जे वरती दिलेलं असतं त्याचं इन्फॉर्मेशन त्याच्यावरूनही तुम्ही आयडेंटिफाय करू शकता whether it is DDR1 or DDR2. Later on we'll see how to identify these particular RAMs. But as I said, now this is all about DDR2 RAM. Are you getting this RAMs? Hello.
Yes, sir.
Yes. Okay.
Yes,
Good.
sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Yes,
then
sir.
about this, we'll go to the third type of RAM, that is DDR3 RAM. Again, this is double data rate 3, or again this is SD RAM, means synchronous dynamic RAM. This is a double data rate. This is 3 synchronous dynamic random access memory. Again, what you will find here, because of the technology of a RAM, now it is operating, see, now its clock speed is 1333 megahertz. So when the clock speed is increased, obviously what will happen? 33 into 2 into 64. That will be your, that is nothing but your transfer rate. Please, if you have a microphone on, please make it off, because it is disturbing me.
एक्सक्यूज मी सर.
हाँ बोला. हाँ.
सर ऍक्च्युली काही मुलींना जॉईन करता येत नाहीये.
कशामुळे?
एरर काय माहित नाही, पण त्यांना लिंकच भेटत नाही.
एक काल जॉईन झाल्या होत्या का त्या?
हो.
काल जर जॉईन झाल्या असेल तर काही प्रॉब्लेम यायला नको. लेट्स सी, आय विल जस्ट टेक So now there are 53. They have joined. Then I don't think there should not be any problems, because we can see most of the students seems to be joined as an unknown user. Can you tell me the name of who cannot join? Now see 54. Now this is also joined. Earlier it was 53. Now it is 54. I think there should not be any problem. Let's see at the end when we'll take attendance, we'll find how many students are there. So now for the time being, I will just take one attendance now, what is there at this present instant, and then we'll find later on. We'll also take the attendance at the end of the lecture. Okay, coming to your DDR3 RAM, those who are having problems in joining, please report me or WhatsApp me. I will just sort out your issues if at all there are. Okay, so now yesterday 60 students were there. Now presently we see 53 are there, but this number should increase. We'll see later on what, or probably we'll see the different reasons. What are the reasons, or those who have problems, please post it to me, your problems. I'll sort out those issues. Then coming to this DDR3 SDRAM. See this picture, you will find what is the size of the chip. You will find the size of the chip is now reduced. Number of chips are also reduced because of the fabrication technology that is developed, and the same transistors or capacitors now packed in a still smaller space. This is the technology, and you will find that even though you say DDR3, it may have a number of chips may be less. At the same time, you will find sometimes there may not be any chips on a backside, but always there will be pins on a front side as well as on a back side. When you talk about DDR2 and DDR3, both the RAMs has got 240 pins, but the speed of DDR3 is much faster, and both are not compatible to each other. Even their slot positions are also different. Then here, if you see DDR3, then in this DDR3, as if you want to calculate the speed of this, it will depend upon your clock speed as well as into 4. That means this is a bus clock multiplier. When I say bus clock multiplier, we mean that here the clock is again still made a small. Into 2, that is for rising and falling edge. Into 64, it is for number of bits these are transmitted per second, and this is the Mbps. Okay, this is the speed is Mbps. Always remember the speed of any memory you say, or for that for network card you say, or a LAN card, or anyway your net, what you say on your mobile speed. This speed is always measured in terms of Mbps, that means megabits per second, terabits per second, or something like this. Okay, not always, but if you divide that by the 8, then that will give as a bytes per second. But speed we always said as bits per second. So any memory speed you can easily calculate. So this is DDR3 RAM, comparison between DDR2 and DDR3 RAM. If you see externally, you will find that the notch positions are different. Their operating voltages are also different. So as your size of the transistor is reduced, its operating voltage is also reduced, but its reliability is still the same. That means here the size of the chip is obviously going on to be reduced. So here both DDR2 and DDR3 are of a 240 pins. But one is operating at 1.8 volts, another is operating at 1.5 volts. So that is the difference. So obviously, if the operating voltage is less, obviously your power requirement is less. And if you really wish to use this type of memories on a laptop, so your power consumptions will be less, so your battery will go for a longer time. That is the advantage of using. Now here, when you talk about DDR3, so DDR3 is twice the fastest than your what we call as DDR2, and this is possible because it has got now 8-bit prephase data buffer. Compared to DDR2, it has got 4-bit prephase data buffer. Now, what you mean by prephase data buffer is that this is very similar to the instruction execution in, say, microcontroller or microprocessor. By the time this current instruction is executing, the data required for the next instruction to be executed, it is fetched. On similar line, by the time that this data is transferred, the next data to be transferred, it is already available with the buffer. So that is called as the 8-bit prephase data buffer, and that is why this is much faster or 3 times faster than what we call as a DDR. Double the DDR2, and maybe you can say 4 times the DDR2. Okay, now this is all about the DDR3 RAMs. Now latest RAMs, if you are going in the market, then probably after 2015-16, these RAMs came into the market. Now this abbreviation is double data rate 4th generation, synchronous dynamic random access memory. So DDR4 SDRAM is, it has got a very higher speed and efficiency. If you see the transfer data rates of this DDR4, it is beyond 2133 mega transfer, million transfers per second. Million transfer means it is very similar to megabits per second. Whether you say MT or MB, the meaning is same. And 42, that means between 2133 through 4266 mega transfer per second. So this is the speed, and speed is achieved by using the higher and higher clock speeds. So if you just want to have a comparison of a clock speed, I may say for DDR, it is operating from 200 to 400 megahertz. DDR2 is operating from 400 to 800 megahertz, and DDR3 is operating from 800 to 1600 megahertz. Maybe you have a 800 megahertz clock speed, or you may have something like 1333 megahertz, or you may have 1066 megahertz, or you may have a 1600 megahertz. So this is the frequency of the each RAM. Then we'll see how to select the RAM for a proper motherboard. That guidelines I'll give later on. But for the time being, this is DDR4 RAM. And if you notice this particular DDR4 RAM, it is now operating at a voltage, it is about 1.2 volt. That means operating voltage are still down, and speed and efficiency is increased drastically. So it takes care of all your voltages, what we say, DDR4 1.2, DDR3 1.5, DDR2 1.8, DDR operates at 2.5. And if you say only dynamic RAM, that was taking 3.3 volts. So this is the way your memories has been evolved or improved. Now there are certain variants in the memories. One normally memory is available with what we call as an ECC. So here this ECC means error correcting codes. For memory to operate, or especially servers where very dedicated servers, or just maybe a banking servers or a very high organized where data is very important, then in that case there you cannot have an error in your bits or in the memories, and for that one additional chip is kept on a RAM, that is called as a error correcting chip. So if you have this ACC, or you can also have a registered additional signal integrity. In fact, these are fully buffered. Whenever you say buffered, that means there are certain independent logic of data to be transmitted and data to be received. And whatever the data is received is counter checked, and it is checked by using these ECC bits. If it is correct, then it is further handed over. So that is why it is relatively slower, but it takes care that if there will not be any error. But the design of now all these DDR RAMs is so good that there is a very less error, or you do not require to go for now ECC specific ECC memory modules. Even all DDR versions are very similar to what we call as the ECC. That is why now these variants also nowadays became outdated. But for extra precaution, for server work, people may go for this DDR3 with ECC or DDR4 with ECC. Now, if you see this particular DDR3 modules, as I said, see these are the different frequencies of these DDR3, 800, 1066, 153, 1600. So that is actually decides the speed of each. See, now whenever you go into the market and if you ask, give me the DDR3, probably if you say DDR3, there are 4 DDR3 chips are available in the market. Probably you are paying for a DDR3 600 and that person may give you DDR3 800. So in that case, DDR3 800 will be much cheaper than DDR3 600. But here, so you have to be very specific when you are purchasing any RAM chips from the market. You must specify this. And at the same time, there are 3 things are normally specified for memory. One is the name, DDR1, DDR2, DDR3, DDR4. Another is the clock speed of that particular memory. And finally, you also specify what is PC1, PC2, PC3. When I say, if you see the line, module name is given as PC3 6400, 6400. Why this PC3 is named, how this is coming? Because if I wanted to take this particular memory, then I also can specify this memory as DDR3 first specification, then dash 800, that means it is working at a clock frequency of 800. Then I can say dash PC36400. When this PC36400, that is nothing but this is a bandwidth of it. That means the maximum data rate can be transferred per second. So these are the 3 specifications which is normally given for specifying any DDR3. Now this is another explanation that are continuing earlier one. What you must know, this is a speed, this is a clock speed, this is a time taken, that is 10 nano, this is the access time. The request is given and the data is made available. That is the duration between that. Then this is then the IO bus speed. Then what is the data rate that we can, IO bus speed 400, so data rate is twice, so it will become 800. And if you multiply 800 with 64 bits, that will come to the, this will give a PC3, that means 6400. So this is the name of the module. That is a peak rate it can transfer. And that may be what are the timings, how much time it may take. So accordingly, as the DDR3 technology increased, you will find the speed has been increased. At the same time, cycle time has been reduced. IO bus is, as the IO bus is increased, so obviously bandwidth of data transmission will increase. And so more the data transmission between CPU and the RAM, as you know, there will be a faster processing is possible. Now conclusively, now we'll see what is the exactly what we have studied so far. So here earlier we said 30 pin SIM module, that is at the bottom. Then there more improvement into this. There was a 72 pin SIM module which can be, of course, your for every SIM to fit in, there should be a provision for what we call as an bus slots. Then after that we come up with the better RAM, that is a RAM bus inline memory module. It is having 184 pin. Then better memory that was developed is nothing but the SD RAM, that is we call it a synchronous dynamic RAM module. Okay, so this was operating at 168 pin. But now this has got 2 notches. If you see this particular memory model, and this was available somewhere in 2000, but about 2005 this is DDR RAM came into the market. It has again 184 pins, but not at a different position. If you go from DDR2 to DDR2, then here notch is again at a different place, but its speed is twice. Then whatever the number of pins of DDR2 and DDR3, these are both same, that is 244 pins. But if you go for DDR4 pin, these are 288 pins are available. The picture of DDR4 is not here, but this is again a similar one. There is no difference, but voltage is reduced, frequency of operation is increased, data rate is doubled. That is why it is called as a DDR4 or the 4th generation of DDR RAM. So this is all about the memory and how you should look at it. And whenever you go in the market, you should know which memory you have to purchase, which motherboard supports your memory, or what is the requirement. Or if you go on, yesterday we have seen the motherboard specifications. In that motherboard specification, we also said there will be a memory slots. And if you see the manual of motherboard, it will definitely give you the what is the bus width of that. At the same time, what is the supported frequencies of RAM, or what are the types of RAM that can support. It can support the different frequencies. There will be certain slots or deep switches are normally provided on a motherboard. Nowadays that deep switches concept is also old. So as and when you put insert this, automatically that detects the RAM and automatically it configures that particular RAM based on the clock speed. It your manual always suggests what is the hard maximum frequency that motherboard can operate and which RAM you should take, and accordingly you should demand your RAM as per the need of your motherboard. Finally, if you want to see the comparison of this, that is SDRAM, DDR, etc., then what will be the internal clock rate? But this is a clock speed. This is a bus speed. If your bus speed and clock speed are same, then you can say that here you have a synchronous transmission. But your internal frequency of a RAM and a clock frequency and your bus speed cannot be matched. So here you at least you can match two. You have to match two rather. What is the bus speed of your motherboard and the frequency of RAM? If it is matched, then that will operate synchronously, and then it will work as per the your clock speed, and then accordingly the you can have a different operating speeds. Here you will find DDR, DDR2, or up to SDRAM, DDR. We say these are the synchronous. Internal rate and bus clock were same, but later on bus clock speed has been increased drastically. As the bus clock speed is increased, that is why it is possible to transmit more number of bits uh, per second. Now when we say prefetch, here the prefetch bits are being increased in DDR3 as well as in DDR4. Then how, if you see, if I ask you the question, why speed of DDR4 is double than DDR3, you can see here the speed bus clock of it is actually made double. Whatever be this 533 now that become 1066, or whatever 800 that has become now 1600, but prefetch buffer is the same 8 nanosecond. That is why the speed has become double. So this transfer rate now, if you talk in terms of GB, you will find that DDR transmit the data about 17 to 20 GB per second. You know what is the GB now. Okay, so in a second, how much data can be transferred? So you can imagine what is the speed of this RAM for transferring the data from RAM to CPU. So this is the rates are given, address said, working voltages are given. So in brief, even at the end, if you just remember this particular table, it will give a lot of ideas about the RAM, its developments and its operations. Okay, now if you see the types of memories, tomorrow we are going for cache memory, or maybe later on I'll go for cache memory. But now, as I said, main memories are dynamic RAM, slower, physically housed in DMINs and SIMs that we have seen. Whatever the technologies here, this technology was fast page minute, ADO, fast page, this is memory. Then EDO, that is extended data output. This is burst extended data output. Synchronous DRAM, direct rambus DRAM. Then now we say double data rate SDRAM. And then there are the various versions of the double data RAM, 1, 2, 3, 4. Then you also have a sync line. So these are nothing but the what I will say evolution or development into your RAMs. Now the next question is that whenever you are handling any RAM, how you should take care of handling the RAM. So here very first, जेव्हा RAM हँडल करायची असेल तर तुमचं एन्व्हायरमेंट अगदी क्लीन असायला हवं. जेव्हा जेव्हा तुम्ही रॅम आत टाकता, उघडता किंवा केस उघडता त्यावेळी त्यात डस्ट जाणार नाही, तुमच्या सॉकेटमध्ये डस्ट जाणार नाही, तुमच्या हाताच्या जे ऑइल वगैरे असतं ते तुमच्या कधीही त्या स्ट्रिप्स आहे गोल्डन स्ट्रिप्स त्याला लागायला नको. त्याच्यामुळे ते कदाचित डॅमेज होऊ शकतात किंवा आज जर डस्ट गेली तर तो कॉन्टॅक्ट जर त्याचा मेट झाला नाही एका पिनचा तरी इमिजिएटली द रॅम विल गिव्ह स्टार्ट प्रॉब्लेम्स टू यू. म्हणजे तुम्ही थोडक्यात एक क्लीन एन्व्हायरमेंट मध्ये काम करावं. दुसरं, जेव्हा जेव्हा तुम्ही मेमरी हँडल करतात तर नेहमी त्याच्या ऑलवेज होल्ड रॅम मॉड्यूल्स बाय देअर एजेस, वरच्या एजेसला, खालच्या नाही. जिथं पिन्स आहेत तिथे कधीही हात लावू नये किंवा तुमचे बोट लागणार नाही याची काळजी घ्यावी. कारण दीज आर व्हेरी सेन्सिटिव्ह टू युअर इलेक्ट्रिकल, म्हणजे जी आपण म्हणतो की स्टॅटिक चार्जला त्या फार सेन्सिटिव्ह असतात. आणि आपण जेव्हा हे कंपोनंट हँडल करतो तेव्हा बॉडीचा काहीतरी चार्ज असतो आणि तो बॉडीचा चार्ज त्यांच्याकडे जर गेला तर इमिजिएटली त्या रॅम ह्या डिस्ट्रॉय होऊ शकतात. चान्सेस फार कमी असतात, परंतु यू शुड नॉट टेक अ रिस्क. दॅट इज व्हॉट आय विल से, की जेव्हा तुम्ही मेमरीला कधी हात लावायचं असेल किंवा हे करायचं असेल, सगळ्यात सेफेस्ट वे तुमचा जो कॉम्प्युटर आहे, कॉम्प्युटरची जे मेटॅलिक केस असते त्याला आपला बॉडीचा टच करावा. बॉडीचा टच केल्यानंतर बॉडीतला जो काही स्टॅटिक चार्ज असेल तो ग्राउंड होईल आणि मग त्याच्यानंतर देन यू कॅन स्टार्ट ऑपरेटिंग ऑर टचिंग एनी पार्ट्स ऑन टू युअर computer or you can handle the RAM. So be careful when you are handling the जेव्हा टच करतो तेव्हा रॅमला. आणि नंतर महत्वाचं की काळजी कधी घ्यायची आहे तुम्हाला, रॅम इन्सर्ट करत असताना मी सांगितलं कोणतीही रॅम ही इंटरचेंजेबल नाही, एकमेकाला कॉम्पॅटिबल नाही. जी रॅम ज्या मदरबोर्डचं स्लॉट ज्याच्यासाठी आहे त्याच्यामध्येच जाते, दुसऱ्यामध्ये जात नाही. DDR1 रॅम घेऊन तिच्याऐवजी DDR2 तुम्ही मदरबोर्ड मध्ये टाकायचा प्रयत्न केला तर जाणार नाही, कारण त्याच्या नॉचेस ह्या वेगवेगळ्या पोझिशनला असतात. जर आत गेली तर थोडं जेंटल प्रेशर द्या, जास्त प्रेशर अप्लाय करू नका, नाही तर तुम्ही त्याला डॅमेज कराल किंवा ब्रेक करून टाकाल. सो यू हॅव टू टेक कशी ती इन्सर्ट करायची, कशी काढायची, किती प्रेस द्यायचा, कशी, आणि ते स्लॉट बघायचं, त्याची नॉच बघायची आणि त्या पद्धतीने तिला इन्सर्ट करायचा. फायनली आता ह्याच्यामध्ये आणखी घेत असताना आज मी म्हटल्याप्रमाणे स्टॅटिक जो चार्ज असतो तो त्याने तुमची हे डॅमेज होऊ शकते. तर त्याच्यासाठी काय 2-4 गोष्टी आवश्यक आहे. ॲज आय सेड, तुम्ही ग्राउंडला टच करा किंवा दुसरा, शक्यतो कार्पेटवरती काम करू नका. कार्पेटवरती इलेक्ट्रिसिटी चार्ज जास्त असतो. त्याच्यापेक्षा वुडन टेबल किंवा एखादं फ्लॅट किंवा हार्डबोर्ड असेल तर हार्डवूड असेल तर त्या फ्लोरिंगवरती तुम्ही शक्यतो काम करावं. आणि ॲट द सेम टाइम ही जी कीप युअर बॉडी ॲट इलेक्ट्रिकल पोटेन्शियल, म्हणजे जेवढं कमीच्या पोटेन्शियल असेल त्याचं, आणि शक्यतो ह्युमिड एन्व्हायरमेंटमध्ये जास्त काम करू नये. सो दीज आर द सर्टन गाईडलाईन्स वेन यू आर हँडलिंग द मेमरी. इट विल डेफिनेटली टेक केअर, म्हणजे तुमचे मेमरी डॅमेज होण्याचे चान्सेस कमी राहतील. नाउ दिस इज फायनली, हे कलर्ड स्लॉट्स काय असतात रॅम मध्ये. तर तुमच्या लक्षात येईल की नॉर्मली मेमरी इज अवेलेबल फॉर मदरबोर्डचे स्पेसिफिकेशन बघितले तर त्यात दिलेलं असतं की हे सिंगल चॅनल आहे की डबल चॅनल मदरबोर्ड आहे. आता हा जर बघितला आपण मदरबोर्ड तर हा ड्युएल चॅनल आहे. ड्युएल चॅनल मध्ये पण त्याने लिहिलंय की तो DDR2 सपोर्ट करतो आणि तो 533 मेगाहर्ट्झ रॅमच्या फ्रिक्वेन्सीला तो सपोर्ट करतो. मग आता जर आपल्याला रॅम बसवायची असेल तर कशी बसवली पाहिजे, तर जेव्हा तुमचा जर ड्युएल चॅनल असेल मदरबोर्ड आणि तुम्हाला खरंच ड्युएल चॅनलची पूर्ण त्याची पॉवर युटिलाइज करायची असेल तर यू शुड यूज द सेम टाइप ऑफ रॅम ऑफ अ सेम कॉन्फिगरेशन ऑफ अ सेम इंडस्ट्री, दॅट इज मॅच्ड किट असायला पाहिजे. नॉर्मली मार्केटमध्ये मॅच्ड किट्स भेटतात किंवा मॅच्ड रॅम्स भेटतात. मॅच्ड रॅम्स म्हणजे काय, की त्याचा मॅन्युफॅक्चरर सेम आहे आणि त्याची फ्रिक्वेन्सी सेम आहे, त्याची साईज पण सेम आहे. अशा जर तिन्ही जर मॅच केल्या तर तुमचा स्पीड तुम्हाला चांगल्यापैकी मिळू शकतो. फॉर एक्झाम्पल असा विचार करा की माझ्याकडे 800 मेगाहर्ट्झची 8 GB ची चिप आहे आणि 8 GB ची एक सिंगल चिप आहे. तर मी त्या एका येलो इथं लावून टाकलं तर ती 8 GB सारखी काम करेल. परंतु जर मी तीच जर 8 GB ची चिप जर मी 4 GB घेतल्या आणि ती पहिल्या येलो स्लॉट मध्ये टाकली, दुसऱ्या येलो स्लॉट मध्ये टाकली, तर माझा 4+4 होईल. दिस विल वर्क ॲज अ ड्युएल चॅनल. आणि जेव्हा डबल चॅनल होईल तेव्हा मदरबोर्ड ह्या दोन्ही चॅनल वरती स्पीड पाठवेल. आणि त्या जर अशा पद्धतीने जर असतील तर मला तो मॅक्झिमम युटिलाइज मिळेल आणि मला त्याचा स्पीड हा फास्ट मिळेल रादर दॅन युझिंग अ सिंगल 8 GB रॅम. म्हणजे याच्यामध्ये तुम्ही नेहमी जेव्हा तुम्हाला डबल चॅनल असतील, डबल चॅनल कशावरून आयडेंटिफाय करायचे, तर सारखे कलर्स असतील, मे बी रेड कलर असेल, ब्लॅक कलर असेल किंवा येलो आणि ऑरेंज, इथं येलो ऑरेंज दिलाय, येलो ऑरेंज दिलाय, याचा अर्थ त्याचे 2 चॅनल आहे आणि दोन्ही चॅनल वरती तुम्ही मेमरी टाकू शकतात. दोन्ही चॅनलच्या मेमरीची कपॅसिटी मात्र ही सारखी असली पाहिजे. नॉर्मली रेकमेंडेड काय आहे याच्यामध्ये, जर तुमच्याकडे 4 स्लॉट असतील आणि तुमच्याकडे जर 1 GB च्या रॅम असतील तर तुम्ही 4 स्लॉट्स मध्ये टाकल्या तरी चालतील. पण काही मध्ये तुमचे 2 आहे, काही मध्ये 4 GB आहे, तर 2-2 सारखे असल्या पाहिजे, 4-4 सारखे असल्या पाहिजे. ओके. काही जर सिंगल चॅनल जर असेल आणि सिंगल चॅनल नॉर्मली मदरबोर्ड आहे ना, आयदर 2 स्लॉट्स मध्ये येतात किंवा 4 स्लॉट्स मध्ये येतात मेमरी. जेव्हा 2च स्लॉट्स मध्ये असतात याचा अर्थ तो सिंगल चॅनल मदरबोर्ड आहे आणि त्याच्यामध्ये जर तुम्ही समजा 4 GB ची एक रॅम टाकली आणि दुसरी 4 GB ची रॅम टाकली तर डेटा स्पीड कसा होतो, पहिल्यांदा तो 4 GB ला ऍक्सेस करतो आणि ती भरल्यानंतर पुढच्या 4 GB वर जातो. म्हणजे तुमचा जो स्पीड आहे तो कधी 4 GB च्या वरती जाणार नाही, पहिली गोष्ट. आणि दुसरी गोष्ट की त्याचा तुम्हाला 4 GB च्या वरती स्पीड मिळणार नाही. तिसरी गोष्ट, जर तुम्ही 800 न तुम्ही जर अगदी हाय डेटा ट्रान्सफर करत असाल तर 80-90% पर्यंत तुमचा डेटा ट्रान्सफर होईल आणि त्यावेळी ती चिप थोडीशी गरम होऊ शकते. ऑन द कॉन्ट्ररी तुम्ही एकच 4 GB ची रॅम वापरण्याऐवजी 2-2 GB ची रॅम त्या 2 स्लॉट्स मध्ये टाकली तर तो डेटा डिस्ट्रीब्यूट होतो, स्पीड तुम्हाला फास्ट मिळतो आणि जे हिटिंग कन्सिडरेशन किंवा थर्मल कन्सिडरेशन ते ऑटोमॅटिकली केअर घेतली जाते. फक्त याच्यात लॉस प्रोबॅबली काय आहे, तर एका 4 GB ची रॅमची चिप जर घेतली तर ती चीपर असते, परंतु त्यात जर 2+2 GB ची रॅम घ्यायची असेल तर स्लाइटली तुम्हाला थोडे जास्त पैसे त्याच्यासाठी मोजावे लागतील. पण इट इज ऑलवेज यूज whenever you have to use, I will always say that you must have 2 sticks of the same pair, matching pair from the same manufacturer of the same frequency taken. आणि त्याच वेळी म्हणजे जसं आपण म्हणतो की आपल्या गाडीचं जर टायर बदलायचं असेल तर आपण एक एक नाही बदलत, आपण 4ही बदलतो. त्यांनी जरा परफॉर्मन्स किंवा स्पीड किंवा बाकीच्या गोष्टी मेंटेनन्सच्या दृष्टीने चांगल्या असतात, बॅलन्स्ड गाडी असते. तसंच इथे सुद्धा तुम्हाला जेव्हा रॅम टाकायचे असतील तर तेव्हा रॅम सुद्धा तुम्ही मॅच पेअर मध्येच टाका. आता आहे आपल्याकडे पैसे म्हणून एक टाकायची, नंतर दुसरी घ्यायची असं म्हटलं तर त्यामुळे जर त्या मॅच झाल्या नाही तर त्या दोघीमधला स्लोअर आहे त्याच्याप्रमाणे चालेल, किंवा त्या जर मॅन्युफॅक्चर वाईज मॅच नाही झाल्या तर कदाचित तुमचं मशीन हँगर होईल, थोड्या वेळात चालेल किंवा तो ब्लू स्क्रीन दिसेल किंवा अदर प्रॉब्लेम जे आहेत ते सुरू होतील. सो इट इज बेटर टू यूज अ मॅच्ड रॅम्स. देन फायनली काही दंतकथा आहेत, आपण जे मिथ्स म्हणतो अबाउट रॅम. यू यू कांट मिक्स रॅम साईज, म्हणजे तुम्ही रॅमची साईज मिक्सअप करू शकत नाही. बरोबर आहे. इथे जी काही ही जी मिक्स रॅम साईज वापरू शकत नाही असं नाही, तुम्ही 8 GB 16 GB असंही वापरू शकतात. परंतु तुम्ही बघायचं आहे की आपण 8 GB वापरायची का 16 GB वापरायची का किती वापरली पाहिजे. तर 8 GB ने जर काम होत असेल तुमचं तर तुम्ही 16 GB जरी बसवली तरी तुम्हाला परफॉर्मन्स इम्प्रूव्ह होईलच असं नाही. कारण त्याच्यावरती अवलंबून आहे की तुम्ही कोणत्या गोष्टी वापरतायत. ॲज अ जनरल रूल जर म्हटलं तर मला किती मेमरी आवश्यक आहे, जर माझं 4 GB नी काम होत असेल तर 4 GB तुम्ही वापरा. जर तुम्ही रेकमेंडेड अलीकडच्या कॉम्प्युटर्समध्ये वी मे रेकमेंड दॅट 8 GB इज रेकमेंडेड फॉर बेस्ट परफॉर्मन्स. पण याचा अर्थ नाही की 8 ची 16 केली तर आपल्याला परफॉर्मन्स आणखी डबल होईल. कधी काही फरक पडत नाही, बिकॉज ते ऍप्लिकेशन वरती अवलंबून असते की त्याला किती रॅमची रिक्वायरमेंट आहे. आणि त्याची रॅम रिक्वायरमेंट 4 GB पेक्षा कमी असेल तर तुम्ही 8 GB टाकून उपयोग नाही. पण फॉर गेमिंग अँड व्हिडिओ अँड ग्राफिक्स इट इज बेटर टू हॅव अ हायर रॅम. सो फॉर दिस. आणि फायनली रॅम साईज इज ऑल दॅट मॅटर्स असं नाहीये. म्हणजे तुम्हाला रॅम किती असली पाहिजे, तर जास्ती रॅम असली म्हणजे चांगलं फास्ट चालेल असा जो आहे तो हा कन्सेप्ट थोडासा मी म्हणेन चुकीचा आहे. पण ऍट द सेम टाइम जसं तुम्ही मोबाईलमध्ये म्हणतात की एकदा रॅम टाकली की परत तुम्हाला ती रॅम दुसरी रॅम टाकता येत नाही, तर घेताना शक्यतो रॅम जास्त साईजची घ्यायची, म्हणजे तिला अपग्रेड करायची फारशी गरज पडू नये. Okay, now see, this is all about now the information that I was to pass on to you. Now I will say that if you have got any questions, you please ask. Hello. Can you hear me? Hello.
Yes, sir.
Hmm,
Yes, sir.
Now I think number of students are decreased today. There are only 50+.
Sir, I have a doubt. Hello.
हा बोला, विचारा प्रश्न.
सर, LPDDR च्या बाबत काय असेल मग?
LP,
DDR.
what is that LPDDR? Can I put?
लो पॉवर डबल रेट रॅम.
हा, मग आता LPDDR वरती काय असणार? त्याची पॉवर LPDDR मे बी प्रिफर फॉर लॅपटॉप्स और सिमिलर डिव्हाइसेस की ज्याची मेमरी पॉवर रिक्वायरमेंट्स कमी लागतील.
परफॉर्मन्स मग सर?
परफॉर्मन्स वाईज जास्त हे नाही राहत, कारण कसं आहे की तुमचे पॉवर रिक्वायरमेंट्स कधी कमी होते जेव्हा तुमचे आयसीची साईज कमी होते, आयसीच्या ट्रान्झिस्टरच्या आणि कपॅसिटरच्या रिक्वायरमेंट्स कमी होतात. जो ट्रान्झिस्टर मॅन्युफॅक्चर करायला जास्त स्पेस लागली, त्याचंच ऑपरेशन जर तुम्ही छोट्या जागेत केलं तर त्यांनी काय होऊ शकतं, तुमचे जी रिक्वायरमेंट असते चार्जिंग, डिस्चार्जिंग, स्टोरिंग झिरोज वन्स लाईक दॅट, तर त्याला रिफ्रेशिंग सर्किटरी, त्याच्यासाठी काय लागेल, ऑपरेटिंग व्होल्टेज कमी लागेल, त्याची पॉवर कमी लागेल. सो दॅट इज वाय इट इज कॉल्ड ॲज अ LPDDR. Now if you want some like this information, you can even now I can put on your Google what is LPDDR. It will give you the information related to LPDDR, still more than that. Okay.
Okay.
LP stand, it is low, it may be low power.
Okay.
आदित्य, अजून काही आहे डिफिकल्टी?
नाही सर.
एनी मोर?
हॅलो
अजून कोणाला? हा बोला.
सर, व्हॉट इज प्रीफेच बफर?
प्रीफेज बफर म्हणजे काय झालं की हे बघा, कधी आपल्याला जर डेटा ट्रान्समिट करायचा असेल तर बफर म्हणजे काय करतो, डेटा स्टोअर करतो, बरोबर आहे, टेम्पररी डेटा स्टोअर करतो. प्रीफेज म्हणजे काय, अगोदर, आता जसं तुम्ही म्हटलं होतं तुम्हाला की तुम्ही मायक्रो कंट्रोलर शिकलेला आहे, बरोबर आहे, किंवा प्रोसेसर शिकलेला आहे, त्याच्या इन्स्ट्रक्शन कशा असतात, ओव्हरलॅपिंग मध्ये असतात. ओके, बाय द टाइम वन इन्स्ट्रक्शन इज एक्झिक्युटिंग, अनादर इज इन पाईपलाईन, आपण म्हणतो ते पाईपलाईन स्ट्रक्चर.
येस सर.
हा, असंच इथे सुद्धा काय असतं की जो डेटा आहे ऍक्सेस करायला वेळ लागतो ना, ऍक्सेस टाइम हा वेगळा असतो. परंतु काय करत असतं याच्यामध्ये, की जेव्हा तुम्हाला जो डेटा ऍक्सेस करायचा आहे मेमरीवरनं, तो पहिल्यांदा इथून क्लॉक सिग्नल दिले जातात. बाय दॅट टाइम एखादा डेटा तुमचा बफर मध्ये असला, तो जो ट्रान्समिट करतोय त्याच्या पुढचा डेटा त्या बफर मध्ये रेडी असतो, बरोबर आहे ना. तो जर रेडी असला तर काय होईल, ऍक्सेस टाइम तुमचा कमी होईल, म्हणजे डबल होईल. त्याच्यामुळे ऍक्सेस टाइम डबल झाला की डेटा ट्रान्समिशन फास्ट होईल.
येस सर.
लक्षात आलं. जेव्हा बफर असतं तर बफरच्या दोन एंडला, इकडच्या एंडला तो शेवटी रॅम डायरेक्टली डेटा देत सीपीयूला, रॅमचा डेटा बफर मध्ये येतो आणि बफर मधून तो सीपीयूला ट्रान्समिट केला. त्याच्यात तो टाइम जर कमी केला तुम्ही तर ऑब्विसली फास्ट. बोला, आणखी काही क्वेश्चन्स? हॅलो. हा, आवाज येत. बोला.
हॅलो सर.
हा बोला बोला.
हॅलो सर, भक्ती आहे.
हा, भक्ती काय म्हणते, आवाज नाही येते क्लिअर.
सर, व्हॉट इज द डिफरन्स बिटवीन प्रायमरी अँड सेकंडरी स्टोरेज डिव्हाइस? व्हॉट इज द डिफरन्स बिटवीन प्रायमरी अँड सेकंडरी स्टोरेज डिव्हाइस?
अगं सोपा प्रश्न आहे ना. प्रायमरी म्हणजे काय, प्रायमरी म्हणजे रॅम मेमरी, सेकंडरी म्हणजे हार्ड डिस्क किंवा मॅग्नेटिक डिस्क किंवा ऑप्टिकल डिस्क. तिचा डेटा ऍक्सेस करायला फार स्लो लागतो, तो स्लो असतो, बरोबर आहे ना. मेकॅनिकल डिव्हाइस किंवा ऑप्टिकल डिव्हाइस वरून रीड करायचं असतं. प्रायमरी डिव्हाइस म्हणजे प्रायमरी मेमरी म्हणजे इट इज बेसिकली रॅम किंवा रॉम, त्याला आपण प्रायमरी म्हणतो, बाकीच्याला सेकंडरी म्हणतो.
ओके सर.
ओके, अजून?
सर
Hello,
ते
sir.
नॉचेस फक्त
नॉचेस काय?
नॉचेस फक्त डिफरन्शिएट करण्यासाठी असतात का त्यांच्या अजून पण काही युजेस असतात सर?
नाही, नॉचेसचा महत्वाचा यूज काय आहे की प्रत्येक आयसीची नॉच पोझिशन ही वेगळी असते. ती स्टँडर्डाइज असते. कोणत्या पिनवर नॉच असायला पाहिजे ते पण ठरलेलं असतं. त्या मॅन्युफॅक्चरला सगळ्यांना जर DDR1 DDR रॅम असेल तर सगळ्यांची नॉच ही एकाच पोझिशनला असेल, कोणताही मॅन्युफॅक्चर असला तरीही, कारण ती ती नॉच बरोबर त्या DDRच्या मदरबोर्डच्या सॉकेटमध्ये गेली पाहिजे. कधी आत जाईल ती जेव्हा तर सॉकेट त्या प्रॉपर पोझिशनला असेल तरच. मग एक DDR रॅम असेल आणि दुसरी DDR2 असेल तर त्याची नॉच पोझिशन ऑब्व्हियसली वेगळी असेल, कारण असं कधी मदरबोर्ड अलाउ करत नाही तुम्हाला DDRची DDR2 ला, DDR2ची DDR3 ला, DDR3ची DDR4 ला. प्रत्येकाच्या नॉच पोझिशन्स ह्या वेगळ्या असतात आणि त्याच्यामुळे जसं आपण म्हणतो ना वन वे गो, किंवा आपला USB टाकला तर एका साईडने जाईल दुसऱ्या बाजूने जाणार नाही. का नाही जात? कारण तसं अलाउड आत टाकायचा प्रयत्न केला तरी तो जायला नको. जे प्रॉपर स्लॉट्स मध्येच तो गेला पाहिजे आणि जे रॅम असेल तीच तिथं घातली गेली पाहिजे. अदरवाईज काय होईल, देअर होईल इलेक्ट्रिकल, त्याचे कनेक्शन्स वेगळे असतात, पिन्स कनेक्शन असतात, त्याच्यामुळे तुमची पुढची रॅमही डॅमेज होईल आणि कदाचित तुमचं स्लॉटही डॅमेज होईल, अल्टिमेटली मदरबोर्डही डॅमेज होईल. सो यू मस्ट यूज प्रॉपर रॅम इनटू प्रॉपर स्लॉट्स. त्याच्यासाठी ते नॉच पोझिशन ही महत्वाची असते.
ओके सर, थँक्यू सर.
अजून
सर
Hello,
डेटा
sir.
रेट मध्ये
डेटा रेट मध्ये
MTPS असतो ना, तर MT काय असतो?
MT आता मी तुम्हाला सांगितलं मिलियन्स ट्रान्सफर पर सेकंड असं त्याचं नाव दिलंय. दिस इज व्हेरी सिमिलर टू MBPS, म्हणजे मेगा बिट्स पर सेकंड, त्याच्याऐवजी मिलियन ट्रान्सफर पर सेकंड असं म्हटलेलं आहे. कदाचित बिट्स म्हटलं तर आपण काय म्हणतो, नंबर ऑफ झिरोज आणि वन्स किती ट्रान्सफर केले. त्याचप्रमाणे ट्रान्सफर म्हणजे काय, मिलियन ट्रान्सफर और MB, तीच मिनिंग ऑलमोस्ट सेम आहे. त्याच्यात फक्त तिथे त्यांनी शब्द वापरलाय म्हणून तिथं मी ब्रॅकेटमध्ये इथं लिहिलं होतं मिलियन ट्रान्सफर पर सेकंड, MT पर सेकंड. काही ठिकाणी ते MT पर सेकंद वापरतात, काही ठिकाणी MB पर सेकंद वापरतात. अर्थ त्याचा सेम असतो. ओके,
हो सर, थँक्यू.
अजून काही कोणी?
Sir, why we prefer dynamic RAM? Sir, why
Why
we
we
prefer dynamic RAM?
डायनामिक रॅमचा काय होतं, स्टॅटिक रॅम ह्या फास्टेस्ट आहे पण कॉस्टलीएस्ट आहेत ना. मग कॉस्टलीएस्ट आहे तर त्या फक्त कॅशे मेमरी किंवा CPU वरती असतात. इथे एवढी कॉस्टली रॅम घ्यायची, ऑलमोस्ट तिची 3 to 4 टाइम्स कॉस्ट जास्त असते. त्याच्यामुळे स्टॅटिक रॅम ह्याच्यासाठी नॉर्मली वापरल्या जात नाही रॅम म्हणून, तर त्या डायनामिक रॅम म्हणून वापर. कारण त्याची काय होतं, नुसती कॉल 3 टाइम्स नसते, त्याची साईज आहे ना 5 पटीने वाढते त्या रॅमची. म्हणजे तेवढे मग त्याच्यामुळे ती काय होईल, त्या चिपची साईज जास्त वाढेल, कॉस्टही जास्त वाढेल. त्याच्याऐवजी तुम्हाला काय करावं लागतं, डायनामिक रॅम मध्ये कमी एरियामध्ये तो ट्रान्झिस्टर कॅपॅसिटर तो होल्ड करू शकतो, झिरोज अँड वन्स. त्याची पॅकिंग डेन्सिटी वाढते, त्याच्यामुळे आयसीची साईज स्मॉल होते आणि अल्टिमेटली त्याला ऍडिशनल काय प्रॉब्लेम आहे, फक्त तुम्हाला डायनामिक रिफ्रेशिंग सर्किटरी लागते. म्हणजे आफ्टर सर्टन काही मिली सेकंड नंतर तुम्हाला ती रिफ्रेश करावं लागते. शेवटी कॅपॅसिटर तो डिस्चार्ज होणार, मग त्यातला 0 किंवा 1 असेल तर त्याची
Okay, sir.
लेवल, व्होल्टेज लेवल मेंटेन केली पाहिजे ना. त्याच्यासाठी पिरियॉडिकली त्याला चार्ज करत असतात, आयदर 0 or 1. दॅट इज कॉल्ड द डायनामिक रिफ्रेशिंग सर्किटरी. Hence it is called as a dynamic RAM, as it is manufactured from CMOS or MOSFET with the transistors and capacitors in a small size. Okay.
Yes, sir. Okay, sir.
Okay, fine. Now I find your questions were good. That means you have tried to understand my explanation. Anyway, मी जी स्लाइड आहे ही तुम्हाला ऑलरेडी अगेन गुगल क्लासरूम वरती टाकलेली आहे. And these lectures also I'll go on putting onto our Google Classroom. Okay, is there any still questions?
येस सर. मग असे ब्रँड्स कोणते असेल जे DDR जे प्रोव्हाइड करतात, चांगले ब्रँड्स,
कूलर
ट्रस्टेड?
साइड आहे, सॉल्स्पियर आहे. देर आर गुड ब्रँड्स, म्हणजे कूलर स्कूल आहे आणि सॉलिस्पेअर आहे आणि मग बाकीच्या ज्या रॅम्स आहेत, सो जस्ट यू पुट इट ऑन दिस. मला तर दोन इथे माझ्या एक्सप्लेनेशन मध्ये होते बघा त्या. यू जस्ट गो थ्रू दिस. त्याच्यात ब्रँड्स पण दिले. एक सॉलिड स्पेअर आहे आणि कूलर स्पाईल अजून आहे. इफ यू सी मला वाटतं जवळजवळ यू विल हॅव हंड्रेड्स ऑफ ब्रँड्स फॉर दिस मेमरी. बट महत्वाचं काय आहे तुम्हाला की इट शुड बी अ मॅच्ड मेमरीज. Okay, so maybe if you want this answer, I'll give you better next time. म्हणजे I'll just search on a net and then I'll tell you. You can do also the same work. But next time I'll tell you the which are more popular brands, which is normally used in a say assembly of a computer.
सर आता तुम्ही म्हटले की जे मदरबोर्ड आहे त्या सेम ब्रँडचं हे असायला पाहिजे, रॅम असायला पाहिजे सेम ब्रँडची.
सेम
But,
ब्रँडची नाही,
PC
सेम ब्रँडची नाही असं नाही म्हटलं मी. सेम जो स्लॉट आहे ना, स्लॉट सेम. म्हणजे जर तो तुमच्याकडे रॅम जर DDR3 असेल तर मदरबोर्डने DDR3 सपोर्ट केला पाहिजे.
ओके सर.
सेम ब्रँड नाही. सेम ब्रँडचं तर असं एवढं रिस्ट्रिक्शन आपण टाकू शकत नाही. फक्त
Okay,
मदरबोर्ड असेल तर त्याचा स्लॉट फक्त तुम्हाला मॅच असला पाहिजे. तो DDR2 चा असेल तर तुम्ही DDR2 च परचेस केली पाहिजे. त्याच्यावर
Okay, sir.
DDR1 असेल तर तुम्ही DDR1च घेतली पाहिजे. कोणती घ्यायची ही ती फ्रिक्वेन्सी मदरबोर्डचा मॅन्युअल बघायचं आणि त्याच्याप्रमाणे तुम्ही डिसाईड करायचं की कोणत्या फ्रिक्वेन्सीला कोणत्या मॅचला हा सपोर्ट करतो. मग तीच ऑर्डर करायची आणि तीच रिप्लेस करायची.
ओके सर, थँक्यू.
Okay, then if you don't have any questions, then we'll stop here. Say my request to all of you that day after tomorrow I have to go outside, maybe for my old card re-registration to RTO office. So I may not be because the same timing is there where I need to go. So day after tomorrow I will not take a lecture, but we'll see later on when we can conduct, and accordingly I will intimate you. Okay. Hello.
Yes, sir.
Okay, sir.
Yes.
Communicate to your friends. And next time I'll start with the hard disk. Every time we'll take one section or one device. Right.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.